Hi, it's John. So to continue on the same topic, if you were to read that whole article, right, there again is the information if you want to punch it into your address bar. There's the address bar information. So again, if you were to read the whole article, some key points are not made. Some I'm referenced in the last video. And what is said, another point that is said that I didn't say in the last video, because there's so much information here, and I can't fit it all in one video. So at least one thing that's deceptive among some of what I said in the previous video is that they make it seem like the problem is that the cell tower was too near the school, that it was too close to the school. But that's not the problem. Because if that were the problem, this issue would have come up with this cell tower after it was built, okay? It was not just built. This cell phone tower was not just built. It was there for a while, okay? Do the research and you will find out that this particular cell tower has been there for a while. It's been there. I'm not going to go into all the information. I don't have those documents, but if you do the research, you will find out, documents or no documents, you will find out that this particular cell tower has been around at least a few months longer than when the complaints first started, okay? Now, like I said, I don't have the documents to show you for that, okay? You can do your own research and you will be able to discover that, okay? I'm not going to say any more on that, but if you do your own deep, diligent research, okay, there are reasons why I'm not going to show you every document and every route of research that I took on this issue or some other issues. But if you do your own deep research, okay, eventually you will come across the information, or you will figure out how to come across the information that I'm telling you, which is that this particular cell tower, okay, was there longer, at least a few months longer than before the complaints started, okay? So again, the complaints happened approximately late October or early November, late October and or early November of 2023, okay? The complaints, or the, how should we put it, the culmination of the complaints, the climax of the complaints, when they refused finally to go to work, okay, because of their concerns, all right? So, what I'm telling you is that the cell tower was there at least a few months before that, okay? I'm not going to give you a specific date, and I don't have a specific date, but from the research I've done, I am highly, highly confident that that cell tower was there at least 2 or 3 months before they refused to go to work because they felt they were being radiated by it, okay? So what I'm saying is, the cell tower proximity to the school is not the issue, because it was there for at least several months before they refused to go to work because of the radiation concerns. So the cell tower didn't just pop up a few days before they stopped going to work because of their concerns. So what happened? Obviously, what happened, the only thing that could have happened, the only two possibilities is the cell tower on its own began to malfunction and transmit at a level above the 90 gigahertz frequency range, or perhaps within that range, but at too high of an electrical energy output. In other words, as I explained on some previous videos before, if the electrical grid is hacked and extra electricity is introduced into a cell tower, it can emit a stronger signal, a signal that's too strong just because of the amount of electricity being put into it, and therefore this signal is strengthened because of the electricity, regardless of the frequency at which it is, whether or not it's above or below 90 gigahertz, okay? So the most likely thing is that the reason these teachers refuse to go to work is because sometime shortly before that, the cell tower was hacked. Okay? Sure, it could have malfunctioned. Yeah, that's a possibility. Like I said, that's one possibility. But obviously, the more likely possibility, considering all the evidence I've presented about hacked cell towers in previous videos, obviously the more likely scenario is that it was hacked and the frequencies were deliberately manipulated, or the energy output was deliberately increased by hacking the electrical grid as well by the same hacker, okay? And of course, by now we all know who I suspect, right? So that's the most likely explanation, because like I said, that cell tower did not just pop up a few days before they refused to go to work. Now, too bad that neither this media outlet that covered it, right? Neither CTV News, so neither CTV News nor the other one I referenced, this one here, neither of them raised the possibility that the cell tower was hacked. Neither of them figured out that, oh, wait a second here, how can the location be a problem when this tower's been here for a while and these complaints only arose now in late October, early November? So how then could the location be a problem, because the location was there for a while? Neither of these outlets, and I read a few other sources on this, neither of them brought that issue up, either because they just never made the connection, or they just assumed that the tower was recently put up. But I'm telling you, it wasn't. Okay, it was up for at least several months before these teachers refused to go to work because they felt they were being radiated. So, again, no media outlet that I researched, that I could find, none of them brought that issue up. That, oh, wait a second, why is that just coming up now? When was the cell tower built? When did the problem start? Is there a large difference? Is there a long length of time between when the tower was built and when the problem started? Is there? And yeah, there is. I'm telling you, there is. And because there is, the most likely, logical, reasonable explanation is that, therefore, the tower was hacked sometime well after it was built, well after it was activated, well after that it was hacked. Okay, because a tower can be hacked at any time. Just because a tower is there, it could be sitting there for months or years and there's nothing wrong with it, doesn't mean that it can't be hacked at any time, and then problems start, and then these media organizations are gonna say, at least like they said in these stories so far, in any other story I've researched, they're gonna think the problem is the location. Just like with this story from 2019. This one's from 2019. Okay, there's the address bar up here on this one. So this is another one. from several years before, again, like I said, 2019. Okay, a group of parents concerned about cell phone towers being too close to a school, right? So now this one here, this one was soon after the tower was activated that this concern started, or maybe even before, because the citizens got together and, as soon as they saw the proposal to the city, again, the city of Toronto, as soon as they saw that proposal for a cell tower to be built in that location, they stood up and they complained about it and had a petition going to stop it. And so this is actually a good example of the big difference between this story and the one from 2023, because even though it's the same type of issue, this is actually the opposite of what happened in terms of news coverage, because here it started before any problems could be identified with it. The story came out as soon as it was activated, or before it was activated, just based on location. Whereas the other one from 2023, again, with the other one, the tower was around a while before the complaints came. So there's a big difference. With this one here, like I said, these complaints started right at about the time the tower was activated, or even before it was activated, just based on location, okay? But with the other one, they didn't. So that just further proves that the towers that are at issue for the 2023 case that I mentioned before about the 18 teachers that didn't want to go to work anymore, that just proves that it didn't happen right after the tower was activated. Because if it did, they would have mentioned that in the story, just like this story from several years earlier mentioned that this particular tower had been just activated, or it had been just built, and people were complaining about it, right? So if that was the case with the 2023 one, with the 18 school teachers, if that tower in the 2023 case had been just built or just activated, it would have mentioned it in the story. Just like it mentions it here, because it would have been fresh in the teacher's mind, in the teacher's minds. So when they talked to the reporters from the various news agencies, they would have said, this tower just opened up, or this tower was just activated and we're getting problems, blah, blah, blah. Or we're concerned we're going to get problems because of the proximity. But it doesn't say that. Nowhere does it mention that. So that just shows, that's just more proof of what I said earlier, is that those towers in the 2023 case were there, or that tower, singular, although there might be other ones as well, that were hacked, and that affected them. Like, just because that was the tower that they thought was affecting them, that doesn't necessarily mean that was the one. It could have been some other tower. Because with any area of a radius of a couple of kilometers or miles, there's going to be at least a few different cell towers, right? But the point is, they were not complaining about the tower that was just built or just activated, because, like I said, nowhere in any of the stories from that 2023 case that I mentioned, that I talked about more in the last video, nowhere does it say that it was just built and that there were concerns about the location, or that it was just activated. Which means it's just more proof of what I said, based on other research, that indeed it was there for a while before the complaints started. More about this in the next video too. Thanks, bye.